symptoms of those injuries. A one-time fighter whose NHL teams included the New Jersey Devils, Peluso couldn't recall my name 5 minutes after we met. He told me that he didn't call for help anymore after suffering seizures because he couldn't afford the cost of an ambulance. He shared that he had contemplated suicide many times and had once filled a candy bowl with prescription medication, but changed his mind at the last moment when he realized no one would be left to care for his dog, Coors. Lacouture, a gritty New Englander who played for the Boston Bruins and New York Rangers, was going through a divorce from his wife, Bridie, when I met him. The couple had 2 children. Lacouture didn't understand why he would so often fly into an uncontrollable rage and become moody, depressed, and forgetful. Bridie said her husband had changed since they had first met. He was a different person. Lacouture told me about his fight at Madison Square Garden on January 5, 2004, against Calgary Flames defenseman Robin Regehr. Lacouture fell backwards after he was hit by Regehr and was knocked unconscious when his head slammed into the ice. In the hours after his injury, Lacouture said he was not taken for a precautionary CAT scan, nor for an MRI. He said he wasn't even sent to a neurologist for an exam. The Rangers stitched Lacouture up and sent him home with some painkillers. He told me he'd had 17 or 18 concussions while playing in the NHL, and he wondered how much the quality of care he received following those injuries had to do with his current problems. Months before Kid and I met, I had also reported the story of Matt Johnson, a former enforcer with the Minnesota Wild, who was homeless in Santa Monica, California. Johnson's family explained that Matt had become addicted to painkillers after being prescribed so many by NHL team doctors. They were bewildered and grief-stricken, and while they wanted Johnson to come home, they were also afraid of what he might do if he did make his way back to the family farm in Ontario's Niagara region. Johnson's father, Lee, shared that when his son had lived at home a few years earlier, he would creep into his parents' bedroom and stare at them as they slept. Lee and his wife, Brenda, were so unsettled by the behavior that they installed a lock on their bedroom door. Was Murphy's story a similar one, or had other factors led to his decline? In November 2013, a group of former NHL players joined a lawsuit that was filed in U.S. District Court in Minneapolis. The players, Joe Murphy included, alleged that the NHL had not done enough to safeguard the long-term health of players who suffered brain trauma during games and had ignored medical research about the long-term implications of repeated blows to the head. The litigation set off a venomous years-long legal battle that tarnished the NHL's image and its relationship with its former stars. Players wrote first-person accounts of their health problems in major newspapers. They wrote about suffering from memory loss, confusion, dramatic mood swings, poor judgment, anxiety, and depression. The NHL argued in court filings that players didn't have the mental capacity to write their own stories and were being manipulated by greedy attorneys. The league alleged that players waited too long to file their claims, and that, thanks to the publicly available information about concussions, players should have put 2 and 2 together about the consequences of repeated brain trauma. Some former players worried that their behavioral changes might indicate they were suffering from neurological disorders, such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, a brain-withering disease linked to repeated head trauma that was first diagnosed in 2005 by Dr. Bennett Omalu, a forensic pathologist who worked in the Allegheny County Coroner's Office in Pittsburgh. CTE can only be diagnosed posthumously. The disease's calling card is a distinct tangle of brain protein called tau that collects in the brain's dense forest of folds and swirls. The NHL had a major crisis on its hands. Former players Derek Bogard, Bob Probert, Wade Bellick, Zarli Zalapsky, Todd Ewan, Jeff Parker, and Steve Montador all died young after showing symptoms of CTE. One-time NHL players